Well, thank you, Patrick. As we said, welcome everybody to the seminar, which is how to use equipment results in cross connection. Just wanted to thank everybody for your attendance. I know everybody has their busy schedules and have many other things to do. But again, I want to thank you for your attendance. It's a testament to your dedication to the industry and your knowledge and continue learning of what's going on in the industry and so forth. Also want to thank our staff member, Daniel Jimenez here, who is operating all the systems behind the scenes. So you folks don't see all the work that he puts in, but he's back there making sure everything is set up properly, make sure we're standing at the right position, and so forth. So thank you, Daniel, for that. Just to let you know, a little introduction about myself. I am the mechanical engineer and program manager for the USC Foundation. So I basically deal mostly with the approval process, as Patrick earlier talked about the approval program and so forth. The thing that I do is manage the program that runs the laboratory and the field evaluation for all the backflow preventers, among other things. And just to kind of give you an idea of our agenda today, we're going to talk a little bit about just jurisdictional-wise, who deals with the actual water-using equipment and the backflow protection that's required. We're going to talk a little bit some basic background, things like, you know, the types of backflow, types of cross connections, degree of hazards, and the different backflow prevention methods and assemblies that are out there. Just to kind of give everybody a basic understanding, background. Some of you may be really experienced with things like this. Others, maybe you're new to the industry. So kind of give you some basic background into that. Then really talking about the application of the backflow preventers, which will be critical, and then deciding what is needed for the different water using equipment. We're also then going to talk a lot about all the different water using equipment that's out there. Talk some basic operation of the equipment itself, but more critically is what kind of backflow protection is needed within each of the different pieces of water using equipment. First of all, when it comes to the jurisdiction, realize when we're talking about water using equipment, we're usually talking about the jurisdiction that's more within the facility. So when you look at a water distribution system, key thing here as you look at the water distribution system is you have your treatment facility, your distribution system, and so forth, and from there it goes to the different buildings, the different residents, and so forth. The key thing that we're focusing on is the fact that when it comes to water using equipment, jurisdictional wise, we're looking more at the internal side. In other words, when we look at the water distribution system, we see where the meter is. Basically, that's kind of like the dividing line of the jurisdiction, where before the meter, we're looking at the water supplier handling the system protection. Past the meter, we're looking at more internal protection, which is more of an isolation type of situation. The other thing to consider as we look at this is the fact that you know some of the terms that are out there. One of the things that's mentioned is that once the water passes the service or the meter, it's considered, and that water is now used for the inhabitants in the building, in a facility, and so forth. So looking at the terminology in regards to jurisdiction, key thing here is that there is two separation here. The first one is the service protection, which you hear the term contaminant or premise isolation, as opposed to internal protection, which you hear the terms isolation, point of use protection, fixture isolation, and post-meter protection, and things like that. Key thing here is who's responsible for these things. When it comes to service protection, you're mainly dealing with the water supply, having the jurisdiction, the handling, the responsibility of the service protection. As opposed to the internal protection, where it's more now the health official, the plumbing official, making sure that each point of use piece of equipment is protected properly, so that the water that's in there is safe for all the inhabitants. And from that, one of the things that you are going to be dealing with when it comes to internal protection is dealing with the different plumbing codes that are out there. Key thing here, as some of you may know, some of you may not, is there are basically two model codes out there. There's the Uniform Plumbing Code and the International Plumbing Code. Within those two model codes, you're going to see that there are state plumbing codes that are based off the two model codes, or some of the local plumbing codes that are out there. So in generally, when we talk about plumbing codes, as we said, there's two model codes out there. There's the International Plumbing Code, the IPC, and the Uniform Plumbing Code, which is the UPC. And depending what is adopted in each area, each state, that's what's being used. Both are recognized in the U.S., and again, depending on which one is adopted, that's what's being used in a certain area. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background, the International Plumbing Code, the IPC, is published by ICC, which is the International Code Council. And they're a group that what they were able to do is got together with some of the other plumbing codes that were out there before, like the National Plumbing Code, the Standard Plumbing Code, and ICBO Plumbing Code. Got those groups together and said, hey, can we get together and kind of consolidate, harmonize all the different plumbing codes and make it into one. So the ICC was able to do that, and you can see that the IPC is a combination of these groups coming up with the code. The Uniform Plumbing Code is actually published by IAPMO, which is the International Association of Plumbing and Mechanical Officials. So I just wanted to make sure you understood some of the details behind the two different codes.